For thousands of years, the Azorius Senate has served as the central authority of law and order within Ravnica, defining the rules, regulations, and procedures that hold the world city together. The Senate is not simply a governing body, it is the spine of Ravnican society, shaping civil codes, enforcing public safety, and interpreting the mandates originally established by the Guildpact. From towering courts to labyrinthine legislative halls, the Azorius has built a system where every action, dispute, and transaction is governed by precedent and protocol. Yet in the modern age, with rising instability and the inconsistent presence of the Living Guildpact, the Senate faces a growing struggle to maintain control, caught between tradition, bureaucracy, and the escalating pressures of competing guild interests. The origins of the Azorius Senate trace back to Azor, the ancient Perun, whose vision for Ravnica centered on order, restraint, and the rule of written law. Azor believed that peace could not be maintained through force alone. It required a system of governance that defined behavior, regulated guild activity, and provided a neutral framework for resolving disputes. The Senate was established to serve as the final authority on legality across the world city, translating the structure of the Guildpact into a practical system that citizens could follow. The early Senate created the foundational laws that shaped daily life. These included regulations on property, public conduct, guild jurisdiction, construction standards, magical safety, and civic responsibilities. Each law was carefully documented, categorized, and preserved in vast archives that remain active to this day. As the city expanded, so did the influence of the Senate, eventually requiring multiple branches of governance, from judicial courts to legislative chambers, to maintain authority across emerging districts. Over time, the Azorius became more than interpreters of the Guildpact. They became its stewards, defining how it should be applied to new situations the Peruns never could have predicted. Their authority shaped the development of Ravnica's infrastructure, political boundaries, and civic order, solidifying their role as the bureaucratic center of the world city. The modern Azorius Senate operates through a rigid hierarchy designed to ensure each function of government is handled by a specialized branch. At the highest level sits the Supreme Judge, whose responsibility is to interpret the most complex legal disputes and oversee the direction of the entire institution. Beneath them, the Arbiter Councils develop legislation and refine existing laws, ensuring they remain relevant as Ravnica evolves. The enforcement arm of the Senate is composed of arresters, uniformed officers who patrol precincts, respond to disturbances, and apprehend suspects. Arresters are trained to apply law with precision, relying on strict guidelines to determine the appropriate response to each situation. Their presence is a constant reminder of the Senate's commitment to order, particularly in areas experiencing guild tension. Complementing the arresters are lawmages, highly trained spellcasters who handle magical crimes, contain arcane threats, and assist with cases involving enchantments or supernatural interference. Lawmages extend the Senate's reach into situations ordinary officers cannot manage, using controlled spellcraft to neutralize dangerous anomalies and enforce legal boundaries on magical activity. Together, these branches form a system that governs both mundane and arcane aspects of life, making the Azorius one of the most structured and far-reaching institutions in Ravnica. The Azorius maintain order through three primary methods: legislation, enforcement, and deterrence. Legislation involves the constant creation of new laws, often in response to emerging threats or societal changes. The Senate frequently debates amendments to existing statutes, ensuring every part of civic life is regulated, from noise levels during festivals to commercial practices overseen by the Orzhov syndicate. Enforcement is carried out by arresters and lawmages, whose presence establishes a culture of compliance. Patrols are common across major districts, especially in areas where guilds are prone to conflict, such as intersections between Gruul territory and zones maintained by the Boros Legion. The Senate values firm but calculated responses, avoiding escalation wherever possible. Deterrence comes through the Senate's emphasis on procedural complexity. Trials, hearings, and legal appeals are designed to discourage unlawful behavior by making consequences predictable and difficult to evade. For many citizens, navigating Azorius bureaucracy is itself a significant obstacle, creating a society that discourages risks and rewards adherence to protocol. This approach reinforces the Senate's belief that peace can be engineered through structure rather than force. The Azorius Senate faces constant pressure from other guilds, whose values conflict with rigid law. The Gruul clans oppose all forms of authority, resulting in frequent clashes between raiding parties and arresters. The Rakdos revel in chaos and often violate public safety regulations, forcing the Senate to intervene during performances that threaten order. Even the Izzet League, though cooperative in arcane infrastructure, frequently violates safety codes with volatile experiments. Political friction also arises with the Orzhov syndicate, whose contractual manipulations often challenge the boundaries of legality. Meanwhile, House Dimir operates beneath the surface, slipping through gaps in the law that arresters cannot easily close. These tensions make it increasingly difficult for the Senate to maintain control, particularly as the city grows and guild ambitions intensify. Internally, critics argue that the Senate has become overly bureaucratic, producing laws faster than they can be enforced. Complex regulations slow down civic processes and frustrate citizens, prompting some to question whether the Senate truly maintains order or merely obstructs progress. These challenges intensify the strain on an institution already tested by instability. The rise of the Living Guildpact, embodied by Jace Beleren, altered the role of the Azorius dramatically. As the ultimate interpreter of law, Jace commands authority that surpasses the written system the Senate has preserved for millennia. When present, his decisions supersede any legal precedent, forcing the Senate to adapt their rulings to match his interpretations. However, Jace's frequent absences create periods of uncertainty. Without the Living Guildpact's direct authority, the Senate must navigate disputes independently, a task made increasingly difficult as guild tensions escalate. During these gaps, the Azorius often overcompensate with stricter enforcement, broader surveillance, and more aggressive legislative measures. This reactive approach contributes to growing unrest among guilds and citizens alike. Many believe the Senate has become too rigid, relying on overwhelming regulation in place of cooperation. Others argue that without the Senate's vigilance, Ravnica would already be in chaos. In this precarious age, the Azorius walk a narrow line between enforcing peace and provoking resistance. The Azorius Senate remains a cornerstone of Ravnican civilization, an institution built on the belief that order is the foundation of peace. From the earliest laws crafted under Azor to the complex structure governing the city today, the Senate has shaped the behavior, safety, and expectations of millions of citizens. Yet, as guild rivalries intensify and the Living Guildpact grows more distant, the Senate faces unprecedented challenges that test its ability to maintain stability without sliding into overreach. In the next episode, we turn to the Boros Legion, the guild of soldiers, knights, and zealots who represent Ravnica's military backbone. We'll explore their origins, their chain of command, their relationship with justice, and their ongoing struggle to balance discipline with the explosive tensions of a city always on the edge of conflict.